Hello, welcome to Other Perspectives. I'm Nancy Kaplan. This evening I am very pleased to have as my guest a return visit from Jennifer Santee Hall. In the past 7 years she has been on an impressive number of Ann Arbor boards and commissions, including the Planning Commission and the Environmental Commission. Ms. Hall currently serves on the Greenbelt Advisory Commission and on the Downtown Development Authority. As you can see, Ms. Hall is involved in many aspects of city policy and planning. During Ms. Hall's last visit, we discussed the history, funding, and some current issues involving the DDA. This program is available on our website. Welcome back, Jennifer.
Thanks for having me back, Nancy.
Oh, really pleased that you could come again. We concluded our discussion last time with your statement of opposition to the $50 million library lot, it's called the library lot, the deck, the underground parking, for which the DDA is servicing the bond. In conjunction with this parking deck, the mayor has asked the DDA for a parking plan. To increase revenues is the way it started, and this developed into a comprehensive plan which the DDA is actually presenting tonight, I think, even as we speak.
Yes, I think so.
April 19th, yes. And the plan, one of the things the plan does, it does note the change in downtown from a daytime place when there were a lot of clothing shops and everything to a nighttime place, you know. So now there are fewer shops and predominantly restaurants.
Right.
So one of the proposals of the plan is to increase the hours charged for parking to 9 p.m. And the Main Street Association has come out against this extension of charged hours as being negative for customers and for employees. And similar concerns are held by such stakeholders as the Ann Arbor Symphony. So can you comment for us on some of the changes that the plan is recommending?
Sure. Yeah, I can. So just to back up a little bit, the plan is a very comprehensive plan about parking and transportation in the downtown. It came about not so much in response to building the deck, but rather it came in response to a couple of actions the City Council was proposing related to putting meters in neighborhoods and possibly raising the hours of the meters in the downtown to, extending the enforcement to 9 o'clock. And when there came out to be opposition, then the City Council said, okay, so let's have a more comprehensive plan. And the DDA said, that's great because we've already been thinking about this comprehensively for a very long time. We didn't support your actions to put extra meters in places where we hadn't thought about putting them. And we really would like to think about anything related to parking in its whole complex arrangement related to other transit options and other aspects downtown. So the plan sets forth a lot of ideas about the downtown in terms of how one of the things that has become the hot topic has been to extend the meters beyond 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. That's one recommendation in this report that has probably hundreds of recommendations. Other things that are talked about are extending bus service into the evening, looking at giving employees evening workers lower cost parking permits. There are ideas about how tickets are written, how you can pay tickets, where you can pay for your parking, equipment that goes into parking, how the rate structure should be set across the whole city related to time of day or demand. I mean, there's a whole lot of recommendations in there, not just the 6 to 9 meter time.
But it did start, I mean, the balance that the DDA has because it is servicing the bond for the structure is going to be very low, just a couple or several million. So I thought that the part of the idea was that you would have more income because even though you have less parking right now, parking revenues are up because rates have already gone up.
Right.
So
well, the DDA had in the financing proposal for the deck to raise rates, and that has already happened, and that was on a there was a phase in of rates, so we've already seen the first phase of those rate increases, and I think there might be 2 more bumps to go in the package that was presented to council in terms of financing the deck. Now, I felt like the time sequencing and the rolling out of the rate increase when we approved that financing package wasn't aggressive enough, and that it was a little, it didn't cover the costs of the deck adequately related to other DDA finances. That was one of my oppositions to the deck. Nobody else agreed. They thought it was just fine. This current discussion about enforcement and possibly tweaking rates around the city has been talked about as potentially revenue neutral. That if we're going to be doing these things, we're not doing them to make money. This is what the DDA is saying, that it's not about making extra money for parking, it's about doing the thing that's right to service the downtown and the needs of the downtown. Now, others have been talking about it in other contexts, and the city is certainly possibly talking about it to look for more revenue, but that's never been part of what the DDA has wanted to do. There is a revenue implication. If you're going to extend meters to 9 o'clock, you've got 3 more hours of meter collection that you didn't have before. So how does that, what happens to that money? I'm not sure, but it's not about paying for the deck. It's about the recommendation to extend meters into the evening hours is about allowing turnover on the street. And that has always, the DDA has talked about extending meters into the evening since I began, and that was 3 years ago on the DDA, and they probably were talking about it before then. It's always been a topic that has not sat well with the Main Street area. Other business areas, the State Street area supported it by resolution at one of their board meetings recently. So it's something that not all of us are in agreement about.
When it was discussed at the board meeting, at one of the board meetings, if I remember correctly, Newcomb Clark asked really what the finances would be, and came back that there really were no numbers. And from caucus last night, the mayor said that there really are no numbers attached to these recommendations.
Not as of yet, because this is just a plan. This is just a bunch of ideas that are going into a plan that's saying, part of the plan is saying this is the current status of our parking system, and part of the plan is saying these are things that we think would enhance the parking system. And one of the things that the DDA believes will enhance the parking situation downtown is to have the meters be enforced until 9 o'clock. Again, it's to force turnover of those parking spaces, because if they're free, nobody's going to be leaving their space. A lot of what we found through our own research is that somebody maybe pulls in at 5, parks there, has dinner, stays in that space. We see much more turnover during the day hours when you have to pay for meters. It just makes intuitive sense that if you're paying, if you're going to be parked someplace where you have a limit, or you're paying for it, you're going to maybe leave sooner.